Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're getting into something really personal, but also universal, the hidden stuff going on beneath the surface in our relationships.
Yeah, that's right. We're drawing on some fascinating material, excerpts, looking at relationships through a Jungian lens.
hmm We want to unpack how our inner world, the unconscious part, really shapes who we connect with, why conflicts pop up, and interestingly, how relationships themselves can actually be this path to, like, figuring yourself out.
Exactly. Our goal here is to maybe offer you a different way to look at things, a Jungian perspective on those deeper currents between people, especially in, committed partnerships.
So get ready because this might just change how you see attraction or even those arguments that seem to come out of nowhere. It's a new light, really.
It really can be.
Okay, so let's jump in. One core idea from this material is that relationships, particularly the committed ones like marriage, are described almost like a crucible.
Uh-huh. A crucible for something Jung called individuation,
Right, individuation.
which is basically the psychological journey of becoming a whole person, integrating all the bits of the conscious stuff and the unconscious stuff too.
Okay.
So the sources we looked at see partnership not just as like a social thing, but as this active process, something that really pushes you towards that deeper self-discovery.
So it's not just about finding the one, it's more that the relationship itself forces you to grow. Is that the
Yeah.
idea?
So that's a huge part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And one really interesting way this happens, according to this perspective, is through projection, unconscious projection.
Okay.
I'm talking about the inner feminine in men and the inner masculine in women. These are like unconscious figures inside us representing those opposite qualities.
And the material suggests that intense initial spark, that magnetic pull we sometimes feel, that can actually be us projecting our own inner figure onto someone else.
Exactly. Think about it, that instant connection, feeling like you've known them forever, or they just get you or complete you somehow. This work suggests you might not just be seeing them. You might be seeing a reflection of your own undeveloped potential, qualities you haven't owned yet, carried by your anima or animus. It's incredibly powerful when it happens.
Wow. But that sounds like it could lead to problems down the line too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah.
almost inevitably does.
Yeah.
The material is clear that these projections, well, they don't last forever in their initial
They
form.
break down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ideal image starts to fade, and you begin to see the actual, flawed human being in front of you.
Uh-huh.
And when the person you thought was the embodiment of your perfect inner feminine or masculine turns out to be, well, just them with their own issues, that's often where disappointment and conflict really start.
Right.
But understanding this shifts the focus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It stops being what's wrong with them
Yeah.
and becomes more like, okay, what part of me was I projecting onto them, and why am I struggling with the reality now?
That feels like a major shift. Challenging, but maybe freeing too. And speaking of challenges, we should probably talk about the shadow.
Ah, yes, the shadow. Crucial stuff. The sources really emphasize this. It's basically all the impulses, feelings, qualities that we've sort of disowned or repressed.
Stuff we don't like about ourselves, or were told was bad.
Pretty much, yeah. Things society or maybe our family taught us to hide away. And in a close relationship, you just can't hide everything forever.
Right, things bubble up.
They do, your shadow parts and your partners too. And here's a key point from the material. We often project our own shadow onto our partner.
So that thing that drives you absolutely crazy about them.
It might just be, according to this view, a reflection of something you haven't acknowledged in your own shadow. Facing that takes real courage, looking inward instead of just pointing the finger.
So that fight you keep having about, I don't know, their messiness maybe, it could actually be tapping into your own hidden fear of chaos or maybe your repressed messy side.
That's exactly the kind of thinking this perspective invites. It's definitely not the easy route. But owning your shadow, integrating those rejected parts, is apparently vital for becoming whole for individuation.
And relationships are like the pressure cooker for that.
You could say that. It almost forces the issue. And learning to accept your partner's shadow, seeing their flaws as human, just like yours, that builds a much more real, authentic connection. Okay, so this Jungian take really flips the script then. It's not about finding a perfect match or smoothing over differences. It's more like two imperfect people helping each other integrate the difficult stuff, become more whole.
Precisely. The everyday interactions, the clashes, the way you mirror each other, it's all potentially fuel for becoming more conscious, more complete. A truly vital relationship, this work suggests, is one that supports that sometimes difficult, but ultimately transformative journey.
So to kind of wrap this up, looking through this Jungian lens, relationships are way more than just two people interacting. There's these dynamic spaces, right?
Mm.
Where unconscious stuff, anima, animus, shadow gets projected and played out, all happening within this crucible of personal growth, of individuation. Yeah, it suggests the biggest win in a relationship might not just be shared happiness, but actually walking a shared path toward becoming more psychologically whole together and individually.
Which leaves us and you with a really potent question to think about drawing from these ideas. How might it change things if you started viewing the conflicts or frictions in your own relationships, not just as problems, but maybe as clues?
Clues about your own inner world or your partner's.
Exactly. What unacknowledged part of yourself, what shadow element or projection might your relationship dynamics be trying to bring into the light right now? Definitely something to sit with.